Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and our Simple Abundance year. It's our last month in our 12-month journey through Sarah Von Bronick's book, Simple Abundance. It's a day book we've been following through if you're just finding us now at the end of the year. There are plenty of videos though from the entire year of 2020 as we've been talking about Sarah's principles on this channel and some of the specific entries that I'll do videos on. And today's video is from just the other day. It's called The Loss of Control. And I think this will be an interesting one to discuss because I've shared with you on the channel that I do believe we have a certain amount of control over things. And a part of that, in my opinion, is because we have a choice in how we react to things. Do we control the weather or the fact that a tree fell on our car or, major things like that? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I feel like we may never know those things until we're in another dimension, perhaps. And there would be some that would say that everything that happens is of a God force or some sort of master person or being that's figured everything out and is sort of controlling it all. I think everybody has a different thought on what they may believe. There are certainly religions that would, I don't know, what's the right word? That would teach you or guide you to certain principles about the way life is, and if you're good and you live by their principles, then you'll be rewarded in this life or beyond. I don't know if that explains when bad things happen. I know there's that book, and I don't have the author in my head, but when bad things happen to good people, I think that's when you can start to question a lot. When you feel like, gee, I've done everything. I checked off all the boxes. I've been kind to people. I gave to the poor. I don't know. Whatever you feel like is what you're quote unquote supposed to be doing to be a good person. And then something really tragic happens. Yeah, I'm sure. And I've been through tragedy also. I can say for sure that you definitely start to question everything. So, in this entry, The Loss of Control, we know Sarah's coming from a Christian perspective. So, I believe in this entry, as I read some of the things, you will agree with me that she is more on the side of believing that we don't have control over really anything. So, we should just basically try to give that up, because trying to control the impossible is just really going to make us miserable. And I would agree with that. I've mentioned the Serenity Prayer recently. I think I kind of have it in my head now. Grant me the wisdom to know the things that I can change and the things that I can't change, and then the wisdom to know the difference as well. And I have a frisky kitty in the background. That's my kitty Annabelle saying hello on the channel. She loves when I record. It's her time to be a star on YouTube. So I could agree that if you're really trying to control something or someone, because she mentions that as well. I don't know if I've ever tried to control someone, but maybe if you really want someone to do something or make a decision or, side with you or come back to you or whatever it is, but you really cannot control someone else's personal will and desires and thoughts. I could see how that would, I don't want to use the word crazy, but I could see how that would make you feel crazy or just really, really unhappy. So let's see what Sarah has to say about this. I did read a bit of it earlier. Oh, and also, I thought this was a good one to follow the last entry, where the last video that I did, we were talking about daydreams and night dreams and sort of the manifestation through some of those things. And so Sarah's talking about the fact that we may think we have control over things, as it being that is basically an illusion. Okay, she says, illusions are the conscious mind's double agents. The ego doesn't like to think that anybody, especially the authentic self, can do anything better than she can. So she seduces the rational mind into believing those things that help us make it through the day. That this time he'll stop drinking, that the kids just going through a phase, that the arguments over money and power are over, that the unworkable will work if you just try a little harder. And she goes on to say, now maybe all of this is true, but if it's not, you're setting yourself up for the double cross. When that subterfuge succeeds, the master illusion, the mind of Matihara, I believe we mentioned that in another entry, moves in for the kill, convincing you that life can be manipulated. Life can't, but we can. Yeah. And then she goes on to say she understands why we have this illusion, because sometimes we try to control every little thing. Like, we get everything scheduled, we know where people are going to be, we get lunches prepared, we just have this routine, and we sort of get to the point where we think, all right, if we just keep it all together, then everything's going to be fine. But when we become addicted to thinking we control another person's behavior or a particular outcome, we're as vulnerable as riding out a hurricane on a beach underneath an umbrella. What do you think about that? High on determination, we assume we can handle the day, the deal, the deadline, the divorce, or the disease, if we can just keep everything under control. When we can't, we spin dangerously out of control and into a nosedive. I think I've said in another video, I don't know if I'm totally a control freak, but I do like to have control. So the loss of control is difficult for me. I think some things about my life, the fact that I've shared with you, that I really like to control my environment. Like, when I was married, I feel like my ex-husband wanted to have too much control of the decorating. And I was just like, why doesn't he let me do it? Like, he knows that it's more important to me. And then I'm just going to be irked by whatever he wants to do that I don't like, So there are things like that that irritate me. So yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far to say I'm a control freak, but I do like the feeling of control. I've told you guys that I hate being late, and that I think is sort of a control thing. And I feel like I can maybe control those circumstances if I make sure I leave on time or early. So yeah, I wonder if anybody likes the feeling of being out of control. I don't know if anybody would. I think it's good to have a balance. And I struggle with the fact that I do believe we have a certain amount of control about things. But then I think there's other things that we can't. So again, it's the serenity prayer. It's like knowing the things that you can change and the things that you can't, and knowing the difference. There's a book here that Sarah mentions. It's by Melanie Beattie, Beattie. And there's a book called The Language of Letting Go. That's not a book I've read, but interesting. Whatever we try to control does have control over our lives. That's a quote from Melanie. What do you think about that? I suppose it's because you're putting your attention on it, so it would become a dominant thing. And while we might walk away from the wreck, we're often more upset by the loss of the illusion than by the reality of the rubble. The good news is that we can pick up the pieces and salvage the best of a bad situation, but only after we've become aware that we have unconsciously betrayed ourselves. Because we thought we could control it? What do you think she means by that? I think so, maybe. She reminds us, you can never lose something that you never had to begin with. You were never in control and never will be. Let go of that illusion so that you can cut your losses and move on. Acceptance of the inevitable, as difficult and painful as it might be today, is the first step towards an authentic trade-off. We trade a life that we had tried to control, and we receive in return something better, a life that is manageable. So what do you guys think are the keys to that balance? I suppose because that last sentence was from Melanie's book that she'd quoted. The language of letting go. That'll be one I'll have to put on my book list. Letting go can be difficult. And that can mean so many different things. It can mean letting go of things that are holding you back. It could be letting go of control in general, letting go of people, places, relationships, material possessions, experiences, pets. I don't know if I'm great at letting go. Maybe that's a control thing. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. Let me know what you think about this. Do we have any control freaks out there? I think that's interesting where she said, whatever we try to control has control over us. I'm going to have to really think about that. Hope you got something out of this video today. Love hearing from you, so leave me a comment. We have a lot more to discuss. I know we're in our last month here, and it's getting to be hectic time with Christmas being next week. I can't even believe how quickly it came up. But I hope you continue to tune in, and we'll wrap up the year, and I'll talk to you soon about some plans for 2021. And I hope you're staying well and safe, and that your loved ones are also staying well and safe. Sending you all a big hug through the internet, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.